Hello everyone, hope you're all doing well and welcome to my latest video essay in which I'll be discussing one of my favourite movies of all time, that being Michael Mann's Heat. So without further ado, let's get straight into why I consider this movie to be a 90s classic. While most fans of this movie tend to focus first on the action set pieces, which I'll get to shortly, what makes Heat a great movie is the acting from Al Pacino and Robert De Niro. Starting with Pacino's character Vincent, his passion to bring justice by taking down criminals plays a huge role in who he is as a person. I liked how his focus towards this goal affects his personal life, namely his relationship with his estranged wife and stepdaughter. You get the sense that Vincent is a weary character who has witnessed so much negativity that naturally comes from being a homicide cop that makes him more than just your average chasing the bad guys policeman. The conversations that Vincent has with his wife and with Neil brilliantly capture this point for all of the crap that Vincent deals with every day as a homicide cop, and why criminals like Neil McCauley and the atrocities that they commit stop people like Vincent being able to live a normal life outside of their work. Neil McCauley, on the other hand, as a robber, suffers a lonely existence, going from heist to heist, obtaining large amounts of money, but with no end goal in sight. This makes Neil more than just your average robber that is looking to become rich, with no motivations or purpose in life. Once he meets Edie, played by Amy Brenneman, his character opens up in a way that he previously hadn't up until that point in his life, and makes Neil all the more engaging as a result. Robert De Niro plays Neil with such a laid-back presence and sophistication, playing off as a nice counterbalance to the loud and often bravado personality of Vincent's character. You totally believe in Neil being at the top of his game as a professional robber, who it seems is never going to be caught by the police at any point, despite the elaborate heists that he and his crew carry out, and that largely comes down to De Niro's ability to be a commanding presence on screen. Suspense is a motif that recurs throughout Heat, and all plays out wonderfully within the movie. Normally in a crime drama flick, the suspense comes from whether the criminals involved will make it out alive or not. And while that's true to a large extent in this movie, the tension for me came from Neil and his crew endangering the lives of innocent civilians each time they carry out a heist, and whether or not these people will make it out alive. This decision from Michael Mann, who both penned the script and directed the movie, was a refreshing one, as we generally don't get to experience the full impact that criminals have on everyday people in these genre pieces. Talking about Heat without mentioning the direction and action is as much of a crime as the one that Neil and his crew carry out. Michael Mann directs the hell out of Heat, with his direction to shoot the entire movie on location paying off massively. It allowed me to be fully immersed in Los Angeles, as well as appreciating the size and scale of the job at hand for Vincent, as well as Neil and his crew scouring across the city in pursuit of their next heist. Mann opts for a slow pace for the bulk of the movie's runtime, and for the most part, it works pretty well. The psychological insights into Vincent and Neil's characters benefit greatly from this methodical pace, as I was able to appreciate why they love their professions, as well as the isolation and struggles that they experience in not being able to lead a normal life. This slow pace allows Mann to underline the central conflict of Vincent's pursuit of Neil, as well as being able to flesh out their characters beyond the stereotypes and tropes that come from a movie about cops and robbers. While I know countless critics and audiences have analysed to the nth degree the diner scene between Pacino and De Niro, the best way to discuss it for me is to look at it from a personal point of view. When I first saw Heat, I was surprised at the lack of interaction between Vincent and Neil, as crime movies tend to have at least a few interactions between the hero and villain before their final showdown. But Michael Mann decides to delay the moment when these characters meet, which makes this scene all the more memorable. The psychological profiles of these characters really come into the fold during this scene, as we learn why Vincent and Neil love their jobs and why they're unable to be satisfied when they're not doing their work. It's character interactions such as this scene that separates Heat from your average crime drama and allows me to empathise with both characters despite their opposing ideologies. Though there are only a handful of action scenes in Heat, arguably the standout set piece is the downtown shootout scene between Vincent's police squad and Neil's crew. One aspect of action filmmaking that I mention quite frequently on this channel is the importance of geography within a set piece, and ensuring that the audience doesn't lose track of where each of the key players are situated. And Michael Mann and cinematographer Dante Spinotti perfectly capture this clear sense of geography, with Vincent and his squad, as well as the other police officers being positioned on either side of the street, as well as Neil and his crew being wedged in the middle of a chaotic, bloody shootout. This planning and preparation that Mann and his production crew put into this set piece makes the entire scene thoroughly tense and engaging from start to finish. Heat is a truly great entry in Michael Mann's filmography, with fantastic performances from Al Pacino and Robert De Niro. It has a compelling story that is filled with tension at the best of times. There's masterful direction from Michael Mann, who deploys a slow pace to the movie that allows a deep insight into both Vincent and Neil's characters, along with perhaps one of the best action set pieces not only of the 90s, but of all time. So I'll now hand it over to you, as I want to find out your thoughts on Michael Mann's Heat, and where would you rank this film in Michael Mann's filmography, as I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.